Welcome again to Medway Chapel Online. May is the month when we remember God's work starting in Helsdon. The actual anniversary Sunday is Sunday the 16th of May. And when we reach that, we will have reached the milestone of 50 years, a golden anniversary. I will be speaking to you on that Sunday also. This week, I want to reflect on this past year. Next week, I want to look forward to what may lay ahead. Reflecting on this past year, we have to admit that as a church family, it has been one of the most difficult experiences we have had to go through. In fact, probably the most difficult experience. When I joined the leadership team in July 2019, I never anticipated having to face anything like the challenges associated with a pandemic. It caught everybody off guard. It shook the stability we felt in our world in many ways and put us all on an unknown path, living one day at a time, week to week and month to month, perhaps battling with anxiety, stress, or trying to adjust to a new reality of how to live life. In that context, I want to speak to you from my heart. The leadership team has tried very hard to do the right thing, having to take into account what seem to be the frequently changing rules and regulations and interpretations of them, and at the same time wanting to make sure that we had bore in mind the well-being of the whole church family for which God holds us responsible. If we got some things wrong along the way, which we may well have done, I apologise. We have not been able to achieve what larger and better equipped and resourced churches have achieved. That's been a disappointment and a frustration. We continue to be concerned about where each of you finds yourself spiritually. We hope that wherever you may be spiritually, that you will choose to meet with us again when the time comes for that to happen, hopefully in the not too distant future. What can I say? Reflecting on this past year and where we are right now, this is what I can say. The Bible has something relevant to say to us, whatever our circumstances are. Let me encourage you with some particular verses using the New Living Translation. The first scripture reference is Psalm 46, verses 1 and 2. It says, God is our refuge and strength, always ready to help in times of trouble. So we will not fear when earthquakes come. Added by me, when pandemic comes. We will not fear when the mountains crumble into the sea. You see, however lonely or isolated we have felt, however disappointed or disillusioned we have been, we should remind ourselves that God is our refuge, that God is our strength, that God is always ready to help, no matter what we have been through or are still going through. And then let's look at Matthew chapter 28 and verse 20, Jesus speaking. And he says, and be sure of this, I am with you always, even to the end of the age. What a comfort that one of the last things Jesus wanted to tell his followers was that he would always be with them to the very end. And because we are his followers also, that promise applies to us. And then Psalm 34, verse 19, which has the message that God will deliver us. The righteous person, it says, faces many troubles, but the Lord comes to the rescue each time. This pandemic has a time limit. At some point, it will come to an end. We are hoping that's comparatively soon, but we don't know that yet. We have learned a great deal about ourselves during this experience. We have learned about our faith and how that works out in everyday life in the absence of being able to meet in a church building. We have learnt about our society, our community, and hopefully we have developed a deeper trust in God, because who else could we place our trust in? When I spoke on our 49th anniversary last year, I expressed the hope that on our 50th anniversary, that is this year, we would be able to look back and acknowledge what mighty things God had done amongst us. To be honest, I'm not sure how to deal with that 1 year on. With church having been shut down for the length of time it has, and the struggle that many of us have experienced during this pandemic, my hope is that in the fullness of time, we will be able to look back and understand more clearly what God was doing during this period. And yes, say God was doing mighty things. I was encouraged by a recent comment by Stephen Cottrell, the new Archbishop of York, who said, "Church should be a gathering together of muddled humanity, exploring what it means to follow Jesus." There have been times when I have felt part of that muddled humanity, and maybe you have too. But let's keep exploring what it means to follow Jesus. The New Testament compares our Christian life to running a race. And I feel that race in this last year has been one of those which you may have seen on TV, if nowhere else, where the participants have to climb over all kinds of structures, some of them big structures. They have to scramble under nets, they have to struggle through mud, etc. The obstacle race, where you have to be super fit to actually finish the race. The Christian life in this past year has had to face lots of obstacles. But I hope we are able to look forward, still prepared to run the race with perseverance. More of that next week. But in conclusion, I want you to take heart to the words that Isaiah wrote in chapter 40 and verse 31. It says, "But those who trust in the Lord will find new strength. They will soar high on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not faint." So let's trust God for the future. Those who trust will find new strength. That is the promise written by the prophet Isaiah. God bless you this coming week.